Well, welcome to Finding the Way. I'm Dr. Mike Sherbino, delighted to be with you today on our premier launch of this new program. It's a program designed to help people do life better. We all want to do life better, but especially what we want to focus on is the whole spiritual dynamic of life and how a faith in God can incorporate into the way that you live, into the decisions you make, the choices that you live out. With me today in the studio is Ashley Sherbino and Geraldine Detien. I want to welcome you both today, Ashley.
Hi, thanks. Glad that I can be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us today.
Today we want to talk about a subject that impacts everyone. And I asked you to come and help me because I figured you'd had the roadmap all figured out. We want to talk about how to win over worry. Have you ever worried in your life? Duh.
I think I've had a couple days of worry, maybe a couple moments, seconds.
Yeah, Geraldine?
Yeah, never, no.
Never, okay.
Never, yeah.
So you're going to be the role model that we're going to look to. But we want to unpack and we want to dialogue with some of the spiritual issues behind worrying and how it affects us regardless of our faith journey. And this show is all about finding our way. And how do we find the way? Well, we want to make a proposal right out of the gate that the teachings of Jesus have a lot to say and are clear guidelines for coping with life. We want you to interact with that. We know that not everyone shares that same faith perspective, so if you're listening today and you've just tuned in, we hope you join with us. We'd love to hear from you. You know, here's a question. Why do you think we actually worry? And what does it reveal about some of the things we're going through? What do you think, Ashley? Why do we worry?
Well, as I've thought more about this, being someone that's in their 20s and trying to navigate life early on, I think that actually worries a lot of times attached to the things that we find our identity in. So if we ever feel like our identity's threatened, then we're going to start to worry or face anxiety.
Now, Ashley, you work in a variety of different career paths in Kelowna right now.
That's right.
And you've done a lot of work on the university with students. What kind of things do they worry about?
Well, right now, you know, when you're in your 20s, you're trying to figure out what am I actually going to do with my life. And it's pretty scary. It's pretty daunting. You come to the university campus, you're trying to take courses, figure out what degree to do, and then, because after 4 years, you have to have it all together and all figured out and be on your way, right?
Yeah, and we don't want to admit to those students that those of us who are a little bit older, and I'm a little bit older than you, we haven't got everything figured out.
Yeah.
But I have discovered some building blocks, some things that have helped me process the traumas of life. Geraldine, what about you? As a professional singer, songwriter, both you and Ashley have helped people get back on in the career world.
In the career counseling, which is a big thing because people, like Ashley said, their identity has been taken away when they don't have a job. So that's, you know, definitely a huge source of worry, not only for the financials, but their self-worth has been taken away because people identify themselves in what they do. So you see all the time people worrying about interviews and those kind of things, and you realize after, what's the statistic that 90-something% of the things we worry about don't actually...
They never come about.
Yeah.
So let's back up for a moment, and we'll come back to that in a minute. I read ages ago a statement that says that worrying is something easier caught than taught. Why do you think it comes about so naturally? You know, whether it's your mother, your grandmother, your father, we see people worry. There's deadlines at work, the bosses, you know, wanting to wring people's necks and, produce.
I think you said something interesting in that I think a lot of the worry that we have, some of it comes from maybe our parents, the way we grew up, things that siblings or family members worried about. We end up taking that on and carrying that ourselves and not even recognizing that, you know, it's nothing really to worry about. It's not true.
You know, worry actually comes from, finds its root in an old German word that means to strangle or to choke. Very appropriate, isn't it? When you think about it in that context, it just seems that worry chokes the life out of us. Ashley, have you ever observed as a counselor and working with students just how worry has choked life out of them?
Yeah, absolutely. And it has this spiraling effect. So you might have anxiety in one area or worry, and then all of a sudden you feel like your whole life's been taken away from you. And like even the simplest things that you've always known how to do become impossible to do. And it kind of just clouds and darkens all of your life. And because fear grows, anxiety grows, it never actually stays just in one area. It opens up into all the rooms inside of us.
You know, as we think about worry, all of us were looking for solutions, like how not to worry. There's books out there, 10 reasons not to worry, 10 ways to overcome stress. One of the main ways to overcome stress is to remove the duct tape from around your neck, but apart from that...
Or Ativan.
Or Ativan, exactly. And we can joke about that, but it becomes the placebo that people turn to find peace because it's so hard to cope. Now, if we interject the whole faith journey, I'm intrigued with the boldness, the audacity of the man Jesus, the God-man Jesus, and what he said. Like, why on earth, where did he have the wherewithal to come up and say what he did to the people in his day and age? And I want to read it. It's found in the Bible, and it's a passage in Matthew chapter 6. Jesus says, I'm telling you people, don't worry about your life. Don't even worry about what you will eat or drink or about your body or what you will wear. Now, I think he was talking to those who are fashion conscious. He said, life is more important than food and the body more important than clothes. And he says, if you could look at the 10 best dressed people in the world, you would see that the flowers of the field are better dressed than them. And then he makes another statement. He says, as he tells people not to worry, he tells them what they need to do. If there's a fire and people are wondering how to get out, and Geraldine, your husband's a firefighter, so he's all about that, getting people out of the burning building. We want direction. Jesus gave some direction. And Ashley, I want you to interact with this and tell me what you think Jesus meant, whether you agree or disagree. But he says, here's what you need to do to deal with worry. Put God's agenda first. He says, seek first God's kingdom and his righteousness, and all the things you're worrying about will fall into place. Now, do you believe that?
Wow. Yeah, Jesus is pretty bold, huh? A little bit crazy, we'd think. So here's a guy, and he says, yeah, don't worry about what you're going to wear, what you're going to eat, what you're going to drink. Don't worry about any of that. Put your hope, put your trust in me, and it's going to be okay. How can we ever get to that place in a world like the one that we live in, right? Where we're just consumed all the time by our circumstances and the things that are happening around us and the things that we believe identify us. You know what our problem is?
Tell me, what's the problem?
Our problem is that we're consumed with too small of desires, with too small of things. You know what? Our work's never going to be enough. Your husband, your wife, never going to be enough. Your children, they're never going to be enough. Whatever you're into, your sports, all of that, it's not enough. We're actually too big. We're actually too incredible of humans. We're made for something greater. And the greater thing is what Jesus is talking about. He's saying you're kind of fools for believing in all of this because what's greater is love.
Wow.
That's the kingdom.
That's a different twist with how we're talking about worry and now love.
Yeah, wow, what a jump, huh?
Well, maybe that's where it's all at.
It is where it's all at, yeah.
I want to break in for a moment. This is Mike Sherbino with Finding the Way. And as we're here in this inaugural launch of this program, we're going to be right back after a commercial break, and we're going to pick up where we've left off with Ashley Sherbino and Geraldine Detien as we talk about how to win over worry.